Hey YouTube, it's Zoe. I'm back. Um, Basically, what I'm here to talk about today is positive affirmations and how they changed my life. Um, so essentially, starting from before positive affirmations, I always felt like positive affirmations were kind of silly. And I think that was just ingrained in me from like a young age because people would be like, oh, whatever, that's stupid, it doesn't do anything, it feels silly, whatever. And I kind of feel like I internalized that for a while and I was like, oh, well, it's probably not worth it because it's stupid. um, but I was completely wrong. Basically, what ended up happening, I went through a major life change. And after that, I kind of was like, okay, I need to do some soul searching. I need to reconnect with myself. And I need to build up my own self love. Because clearly, if I am with someone who is not doing what they need to be doing, it's because I feel like I don't deserve it. And so I was like, I need to feel better about myself so that I expect more from others in how they treat me. And Perks of Being a Wallflower said it best. We accept the love we think we deserve. And it's extremely true. Um, what I have found is that positive affirmations help to rewire your subconscious brain. So, our subconscious, let's think of our consciousness as a little iceberg. The subconsciousness, it goes deep and you can't see it below the surface. It's deeply ingrained. It's not something we actively acknowledge, but it is something that actively influences our lives. It influences how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive others, how we perceive the world, and how we interact with those things. And so, if our subconscious is wired from, let's say, I don't know, years of bullying, or or I'm just saying like random examples. So it could have been bullying. It could have been like maybe the household, you weren't having your needs met, or your friendships, like people weren't doing what they needed to do for you. And instead of seeing that as evidence that maybe they're not your people, or maybe they don't actually love you the way that they should, or maybe they have something else going on that's outside of you, or any number of reasons, instead sometimes our brain will take that. And instead of it being evidence of that person's character, we go, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong that I need to fix because clearly other people aren't treating me the way I deserve to be treated, rather than saying, those people are assholes. So, um, I had some of those like deep seated beliefs from like childhood and like my early teenagehood of low self worth and not seeing myself as in a higher regard. Um, and that attracted in a lot of experiences that completely changed my worldview and changed how I view myself. Um, like there was this one situation that happened. It was my freshman year of college, and basically the friend group split, and it was basically based on this like breakup between these two people. And I was friends with both of them. I knew nothing about the details of the breakup. No one told me what was going on. And I was closer with the guy because we just had hung out more and we lived in the same building. That was literally, it was very base level. And essentially, the people who were closer with the girl kind of stopped talking to the people who were closer with the guy. And then he left. He wasn't even at the school anymore. And then basically, I would get looks from these people and they started treating me differently. And I was like, okay, so I guess there's something wrong with me that they would leave and that they wouldn't value our friendship. like all of these things, when in actuality, it had nothing to do with me. It had to do with the situation, which I was uninformed about, that I knew nothing about, that was being projected onto me because I was seen as, like, I guess a symbol of that. Sorry, my back is itchy. I was seen as like a symbol of that because I had been in association with this person who wasn't there anymore. And I was like, oh, like when I was told about this like years later, explaining like what had happened and why I was being treated that way, it was not anything that I did. It was actions of other people that had been projected onto me, feelings that were towards other people that were projected onto me. And I just didn't know that. And I took it on as something, oh, there's something wrong with me. But it wasn't me. And that's why it is so important to build up your self-worth, because otherwise there can be situations that happen that are completely outside of yourself, and you see those as evidence that there's something wrong with you, even though it's not you. And you know, obviously there are exceptions to this rule if people are just bad people. But I'm saying in the case that like you have low self-esteem and you take on issues that you think the treatment being sent your way is due to yourself and who you are as a person, when it has nothing to do with that and it's not because of you. So with the subconscious iceberg, there are things that happen in childhood that kind of like they shape how we interact with our reality, and they can change our worldview. It's like, you know, the formative years, and your active brain is not acknowledging those things. It's not thinking about those things. It doesn't even, you know, it's not in active memory. It's just in storage. But it's kind of like a poison, and it just like infects how you feel or think about everything else, even though you don't see the source, you don't see the cause of it unless you acknowledge that. That's like shadow work. That's what shadow work is. And so the reason why positive affirmations are so important is because if you, on a regular basis, look at yourself, let's say you're looking in the mirror or just talking to yourself, and you say, you are beautiful, you are strong, you are brave, you are resilient, and or like just whatever affirmations you need. I am wealthy. You know, I am is important. It helps to rewire your subconscious away from these negative beliefs that are no longer serving you towards more positive ones. And that helps you reshape how you define yourself, how you operate within your daily life. And it also shifts how other people treat you. And this was the part that was the most shocking for me. And I have seen like videos talking about how like reality is kind of like a mirror, and whatever is inside of you will be shown to you in the external. And like, for example, if you think lowly of yourself, I think other people pick up on that, and bad people will take advantage of that to put you down more. And it will leave even good people being like, why do they think that about themselves? That's weird. And so I feel like it kind of puts people off when you feel so badly about yourself. And I think the internal is then shown to you externally. So if you are insecure about certain things, people will be like, oh, that thing reinforced. Let me just tell you exactly what you're insecure about and make you more insecure about it, because whatever you're giving to yourself, you're getting in some way. or you're magnetizing towards you, because it's something that you need to address within yourself, that you need to look at and do that shadow work and help yourself heal. And I think part of it is just exposing that wound and showing you, hey, this is something you struggle with, helps you to see it. Because otherwise it kind of stays in your subconscious and you just move along and it continues to impact your life, but you can't see what the source is. So by externalizing it to you, the universe can be like, hey, this is something that has been a problem for you. You need to address it. And if you don't address it, it will keep repeating until you do. And so the subconscious stores these beliefs. And if you, on a daily basis, do these positive affirmations, and what I do is I just look up on YouTube like positive morning affirmations, or if I want a specific thing like wealth affirmations, or I don't know, creative affirmations, whatever you need. There are affirmations on YouTube, and a lot of the time they're like 10 minutes. You can be in the shower and you can be saying them. You can be doing your hair and saying them. Like, you can be just doing your thing, making your bed, whatever, and saying them, and doing that on a daily basis. Doesn't even have to be your full attention given to it. Just the act of doing it helps to rewire your subconscious to be like, oh, this thing is being said to me over and over and over again. It's being reinforced. It must be true. And so then your negative beliefs start to be replaced with positive beliefs. And in turn, you start to view yourself differently. Just the act of repeating it to yourself helps you to be like, yeah, I am smart. Yeah, I am cool. It helps you to embody that energy. And if you're embodying that, if you're embodying someone who is empowered, who is standing on business, standing in your power, and who feels like confident within themselves, it radiates. It radiates out from you, and people take notice. People see that. And what I have found is that repeating positive affirmations, it replaces the bad beliefs with good beliefs, and it helps you to get better quality relationships in your life, from friendships to romantic, all across the board. It helps you to find people who actually care for you. Because what happens is, because you love yourself so much, because you have built up your own self-esteem, because you have a good self-worth, and you recognize the value that you inherently bring, regardless of what you're doing, you have something to offer the world. You are here, you are unique. There's no one exactly like you. There's no one exactly like you. And in recognizing your inherent value as a human, and all of the things that you bring to the table, you can spot the people who do not have good intentions for you, because you're more aware. And you also know when you're being treated poorly that you don't deserve to be treated that way. And I have found for myself that by pouring into myself, by treating myself with love and understanding, and kind of exploring that shadow self, exploring those things that, maybe they feel ugly. They feel like, ooh, embarrassing. By looking at those things, by looking at those wounds, exploring them, understanding their impact on my life, I can better integrate those things and hold compassion and space for myself. And I can see when other people are not treating me with the same love I give myself. So let's say you're in a relationship. They are like the worst. And you want them to communicate with you, they don't. All of the things you ask, they don't do. At a certain point, yes, that is not okay, that they are doing those things. But also, as I say, if he wanted to, he would. If they wanted to, they would. And the fact that they are not is showing you that they are not your person and that you deserve someone better. And I think it's by pouring this love into yourself, you no longer accept the bare minimum. Because if you're already fulfilling your own needs and you love yourself, if someone else is being mediocre, why are you going to spend your energy to be with someone who doesn't put in the effort, who doesn't love you to the level you love yourself, who doesn't see the value you bring? Why even waste the time with someone like that? And I feel like by pouring love into yourself, you help yourself to become the best version you can be. And if you're a better version of yourself, you're also going to attract in things that are aligned with that higher version of yourself. You're going to attract in higher quality relationships. You're going to attract in higher quality friendships. And you're going to start being treated with more respect because people can see that you respect yourself. And what was the most shocking for me is that as I did these positive affirmations, a couple months down the road, I started the start of this year really seriously doing positive affirmations because I had my own room. I didn't have to worry about, I don't know if this person's going to be home. I don't want to be talking to myself, whatever. I didn't have to worry about that. So I was like, I have the space, I have the time, I have the energy. This is something I want to do for myself. So I did. And as time went on, after going through so many hard relationships, so many hard trials and tribulations socially, I started to see love everywhere. People who I cared about, they would tell me the things I was affirming to myself in private, word for word. They would tell me the value I had. And hearing them say the things I had been saying to myself was so validating. And it filled up my heart. It was so beautiful. And it just made me feel it was so good. And it made me feel so happy and joyful that, finally, after so long struggling to find people who cared for me and gave to me the same amount I was giving to them, an equal give and take relationship. For people who are into tarot, it's giving, 6 of Pentacles. That reciprocity, that energy of seeing each other and respecting each other and valuing each other. And I started to see that so much more. It was amplified. And I wasn't expecting that. I knew it had helped me to change my own, how I was perceiving myself, how I was perceiving the things I have been through, how I was perceiving the things that have come into my life, that maybe they weren't good experiences. They were really bad experiences, but they taught me to love myself. And that is so powerful. And the yin and yang of situations, of even in the darkest of hours there is light, and even in total brightness there is shadow. And just seeing that, and seeing the people in my life telling me that they valued what I was providing, and that I was able to bring so much light into their lives. like they said things that like I I was like, where is this coming from? Like, I've never heard people talk this way to me. Like for example, my dad, he was like, "You're like a beacon of light." I was shocked. It felt so good to hear that. He has never spoken words like that. But those are things that I would affirm to myself. And that's where it goes back to reality being a mirror of what you have inside, even in the subconscious, even in the deepest depths that you push down, it will materialize outside of yourself. And I think a lot of good people go through really horrible things. And I think to some extent, depending on the situation, obviously the severity, there are a lot of really serious things. But I think that a lot of times good people attract in these people who are dark, like in the way of like a narcissist or a sociopath or a psychopath. They those types of people, they see the light. They see that you are shining. But they see that you also aren't aware of that, and they take advantage of it. And I think good people who are put in these situations, they internalize that as, oh, and they blame themselves. They're like, I should have seen it. I should have seen it. You know, how was I so blind? Or maybe they feel like they deserve to be treated that way. And those relationships expose those feelings of unworthiness, of not feeling good enough. And they bring them to light. And it's painful. But if you can see that, if you can learn that lesson, and if you can pour love into yourself and realize your worth, you won't have to learn those lessons again. And I think like a lot of people healing from really horrible partners, it's like, dang, I put up with that for so long. Why? And it's like, well, now that you're on the other side, first of all, you can see things more clearly when you're out of it. It's very much the rose-tinted glasses where you're wearing those rose-tinted glasses and there's red flags surrounding you, but because you're wearing the rose-tinted glasses, everything looks rosy. And you aren't seeing those red flags. You're dismissing them. You're not trusting your intuition. You're saying, oh, well, he had a hard childhood. He doesn't usually do these things. You know, it was just this one time. Or, oh, I know he didn't mean it that way. And you excuse it because you're an understanding person. But in getting out of that, you see things clearly. It's not your fault you didn't see it when you were in it. Sometimes it takes us a while to learn a lesson. But that's why self-love is so important. And positive affirmations are something that is really accessible. YouTube, as I said. There are books that also probably explain it. I haven't read a ton of them. I've seen things about them. But there are books. And YouTube is a great place to just, put on 5 to 10 minute positive morning affirmation. You start your day on a high note. You start your day telling yourself the value that you're bringing to the world. And that value will be reflected. And that value, you will start to see it materialize. And instead of having these horrible things happen, exposing the shadow, you will have these beautiful things happening that bring light into your life, that make you feel so positive, and it puts you, instead of putting you in a negative feedback loop, it puts you in a positive one. And I feel like it gives you a positive momentum towards doing the things that you love. And it's a journey of growth. And, sometimes I know myself, I had to learn a lot of my lessons the hard way. I'm a Taurus. I can be stubborn. I'm very loyal. When I decide that you're one of my people, it takes a lot for me to pull away. I give a lot of chances, even sometimes when I shouldn't. But the good thing is, when I am done, I am done. I'm not going back, because I know it's not just this one thing. It was all these other things that built up to that moment. And yeah, sometimes we have to learn lessons the hard way, and that is very painful, and it hurts, and you shouldn't blame yourself if you end up in that situation. It happens to really good people because you expect good in others, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think part of the lesson is just learning to also see, when people tell you who they are, believe them. When people show you who they are, believe them. Actions speak louder than words. And if someone keeps telling you, I love you, I'll do this thing, but they never follow through, their actions are telling you exactly what you need to know. And a lot of people have to learn things the hard way. But I'm telling you, if you do positive affirmations and you do it on a consistent basis, you can rewire your subconscious to have more positive beliefs about yourself, and you can then bring in more positive experiences to your life. It will change your life. And not everyone thinks highly of positive affirmations for whatever reason, as I stated towards the beginning of this video. But a lot of those people also haven't done them. A lot of those people also are stuck in their own negative feedback loops, and they think it's silly because they haven't done it. But I'm telling you, from personal experience, what you give yourself, what you tell yourself, also will be reflected to you. Those deep internal subconscious beliefs will materialize. They will materialize in your external world. And if you make those things more positive, if you rebuild your self-worth and you pour into yourself, as much as you give to others, you have to give to yourself. If you can fill your own cup, you won't be looking towards others to fill it for you. You won't feel incomplete. You won't feel like there's something missing. You'll be like, I am good. I am good. I am happy. I cultivate the things I want in my life. And by pouring into yourself, giving to yourself, nourishing the things that you feel called to do, the things that you're like, I don't understand it, but this thing makes me so happy, do it. Do it. There's a reason. Maybe you're going to bring a new innovation to that space. Maybe you have something to say that someone else needs to hear. There's a reason. And you need to follow that. If ever anyone has had, a bad gut feeling, but you don't listen, you're going to regret that later. I've had that happen multiple times in my life. And I ignored it, and of course something horrible happened. Because your gut is telling you, hey, watch out. Watch out. Don't do it. So, you have to listen to that. And also, this is a side note having to do with relationships. If at any point your gut is telling you something's wrong, or you have some type of voice come into your head saying, that's not going to end well, listen. And if you don't, this is getting back into tarot, but if you don't listen, that's when you get a tower moment. That's when the universe is like, I've been showing you, but now I'm gonna force you to do something different because this is not working. Because ultimately, what I believe is that the universe doesn't want you to suffer. It's not meant to be this horrible experience. A lot of it is just there's lessons that you need to learn. That, like, you need to learn how to love yourself. You need to learn how to positively engage with reality and, I don't know, acknowledge your shadow and incorporate that and not demonize like these things that have happened to you or that have shaped you. Yes, of course those things are going to leave a mark. You know, they are going to shape your worldview. But they also they don't have to define you. There's a way of looking at experiences and being like, you know, holding that space and also allowing yourself to grow. I think part of it is, let's think of ourselves as little plants. We're plants, we're in little pots. At some point in your life, your roots are too big for the pot that you're in. And you have a choice. You can either be moved to a bigger pot or like into an environment where your roots are able to actually spread out and grow, or you can stay in that pot until the pot breaks because it can't hold your roots. It wasn't meant to hold your roots. And it's kind of like throughout your life, you will continue to grow. You will continue to change. And you need to do the things that will allow you the space to grow. It's not helpful to look at your roots and go, damn, slow the fuck down. Like, why are you growing? That's not helpful. You're gonna continue to grow. You need to allow yourself this space to do it. And positive affirmations are one of those things that will allow you to make your pot a little bigger, to let your roots, you know, allow you to sprout up. Because if your root system is janky, it's not going to be super stable for the structure that's on top. Think of it, the subconscious and the conscious. If your subconscious is a mess, how do you think your conscious is going to be doing? But if your subconscious is firmly planted, firmly rooted, having room to grow, having room to evolve, is acknowledged, is given the care and the love that it deserves, the tree that sprouts, you, will also be thriving because you will have a strong foundation. All this to say, I highly encourage you, anyone, if you have struggled with self-worth or any feelings of lack or just negative self-image or beliefs about yourself based on things that have happened to you, or just anyone in general, I think this is beneficial for everyone. Positive affirmations. They don't have to be in the morning. I think that they are great in the morning because you start your day and you're like, la 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 la. I think it's a positive experience because you go into the day feeling a little brighter, feeling a little lighter. But you know, at the end of the day, it's nice too because you go to bed and you feel good. I personally like morning affirmations. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope that this video is helpful. I know that it's been kind of long. I guess I just had a lot to say about this. I am going to be doing video essay type things because I have a lot of things on my mind and self-growth that I think can help other people. So I'm going to be doing these style of videos. So if this is something that you enjoy or something that is helpful for you or other people, feel free to share or, you know, like, comment, if it's helpful for you. Um, I just want to be able to help people and share the knowledge that I have gained so far and the things that have helped me in my life. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys have a beautiful day.